Welcome back, gang. In this tutorial, I'll consider two common strategies for creating emphasis in our writing. To illustrate the strategies, I'll examine a short passage written by the evolutionary biologist Richard Dawkins. You can find it in a book called The Blind Watchmaker. It's not a scientific work in the ordinary sense, but Dawkins clearly expects his readers to be familiar with scientific concepts. I'll put the passage on the screen. Take a few moments to read it. Pause the video if you like. Get a sense of where the emphasis naturally falls and how the text makes that happen. The first thing I want to look at is the not X but Y structure in the second sentence. First, let's highlight the word not. Now we'll highlight the word but. And here are the phrases that each of those words introduces. Notice the parallel structure. Each phrase is a noun clause beginning with the word whether. The parallelism is important here. Readers probably won't notice the emphasis without it. What's being emphasized, of course, is the second clause, the clause that follows the word but. And this illustrates the most basic principle of emphasis. Readers will naturally understand that information to the right of a sentence is being emphasized. That's one of the reasons we choose the not but structure in the first place. It always frames contrasting ideas, and it tells our reader to emphasize the second idea, the one to the right of the but. We use this structure a lot in academic writing. Let's move on to the what shift. You've probably noticed it at the beginning of sentence 2. Here it is. Let's examine the basic features. First, let's be very clear about something. This sentence is not a question. It begins with a question word, but it does not end with a question mark. It should not be read aloud with rising intonation. The sentence is a declarative statement. Second, let's notice that everything to the left of the verb, I mean the second is a dependent clause. I'll underline that part. Now it should be easier to see that the underlined clause is the grammatical subject of the second is. It contains 4 words, but they function as a unit. Feel free to pause the video and let that sink in. Let's move on. I want to simplify the sentence a little for the sake of my demonstration. Here's the not but structure we looked at a few moments ago. Let's remove it. Trust me when I say that doing this doesn't change the what shift. I'll tidy that up, and we're left with a perfectly natural sentence that still flows naturally out of the first. I want to fool around with it a little, so let's make a duplicate. I'll dim the original so we can still see it without being distracted. You might be wondering why we call this strategy a shift. What exactly is being shifted? To understand that, we need to look at a version of the sentence that's written in normal word order. So let me unshift this one. An important difference in the normal word order is that there is no what, and the dependent clause that what was attached to is also gone. And the phrase at issue appears at the end of the sentence, which means that it's getting all the emphasis. And that's the problem. It's not the news, but it's in the part of the sentence where readers expect the news. So the emphasis is all wrong. Now, I suspect you're feeling skeptical. How do I know that at issue is not the news? Because the most characteristic use of the what shift is to highlight a contrast between one sentence and the sentence that comes before it. So let's look at the previous sentence. Look at the end to identify the news. And of course, it's everything after the second dash. The mutations undoubtedly occur. Do you see the contrast now? In the first sentence, something is not doubted. In the second, something is at issue. Being doubted and being at issue are the same idea. Yeah, the first one's negated, but it's still the same idea. And now remember what you know about cohesion. You know, the sense of flow you get when the end of one sentence is like the beginning of the next. That's exactly what we're missing here. It's the end of the second sentence that reminds us of the end of the first. The ideas are not cohesive. I'll highlight the news in the second sentence. And now, I hope, you can see that the ideas are backwards. The what shift lets us fix that. That's why it exists. It's one more grammatical tool that lets us shift the old information to the left while we shift the news to the right. I'll restore the what, and now you can see what we shifted, why we shifted it, and how the word what is the grammatical glue that makes the shift possible. Let's restore the not but structure, and you can see how all the pieces fit together. Remember, we use not but when we want to emphasize a contrast, and that's usually why we choose a what shift. In this sentence, the two structures complement each other. In fact, I've analyzed Dawkins' entire book. In all, he uses a what shift 37 times. 26 of those indicate a contrast. That's 70%. In every case, he uses the what shift to put the news at the end of the sentence where it belongs. Thanks for watching. Say what you mean.